Hello, welcome to my video. Excuse the video quality, that shouldn't matter. I'm going to talk to you about how to be a better gamer. Some of the things I'm going to say are going to upset you emotionally. Some things will upset others, other things will not upset others. Depending on what you have come to believe is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do will determine what you get upset with. The first thing is do not play all day. Seriously, do not play all day. If you become single-minded and single-focused, you will either become bored or stale or lose your work-play life balance. One important thing to remember is that gaming is part of the play cycle. So in a healthy life, we have work, rest, and play. Some people say, work hard, play harder. That's awesome because they're still getting their work environment and they're still contributing and they've still got a healthy life balance. But when you play all day long, you are hurting your body and you are hurting your psyche, your mind. The next thing to remember when you're playing games and you want to be better at playing those games is try to think about the sports coach that actually helped you become a better sports player. They didn't have you playing the game all day long. They had you training specific things and they had you resting before your main event. So your body was rested, practiced, and psychologically prepared for the main event. One of the problems we have as gamers is that we get addicted to the game and the game makes us feel good and we use it the same way people use drugs or alcohol, and we just start doing it more and more and more. And then we start to get frustrated playing the game that used to be our favorite game, and we don't understand why, because we're actually inside an addiction cycle. So please try not to hate me about this, but please try to sort out your work-life balance if you're someone that plays all the time. Another thing to become a better gamer is to stop playing the same style of game every time. If you're a first-person shooter fan, cool. But if you keep playing first-person shooter, you're actually channeling your synapses in a particular direction and you're losing the branching of using more of your brain synapses. By playing a different gaming discipline, you're actually expanding the strategies and focus of your brain, which will enable you to outplay or outsmart your opponents by using the strategies developed in other styles of games to better your first-person shooting gaming. I've fallen victim to these same problems myself in life. I've been gaming for over 30 years, and you really, truly have to have a work-life balance. One of the big things to be a better gamer is that people do not watch their own replays. Some games offer an automatic replay capture system, and this makes it very easy for you to get frustrated in a game and then watch the replay and study yourself and try to understand for yourself where you made your mistakes. Try not to be too critical of yourself. Remember that you were in the heat of the moment and you were doing the best thing that you thought you could do with the knowledge and the adrenaline or the psychological trauma of losing that was going on in your mind. Try to be respectful of yourself being in that situation and educate yourself what you could have done differently. The next time you go to play that game, you will hopefully have that knowledge now inside of your head and you will act on it. Great gamers often do not think about what they are doing when they're playing. Only the top echelon players are doing more than just responding. When you're in a game and you're in the action, it is very difficult to remove yourself from the position you're in and look at it strategically. So the best thing you can do is study strategies, understand strategies, and figure out your own strategies when you're not in the game. Or you're at the start of the match and you're trying to communicate with your teammates. Often there's other people who are just upset from their last loss and they're just thinking, play harder, play harder, play harder. They might insult people that are trying to communicate and make the team more cohesive and more cooperative. Just ignore them. They're hurting. They're hurting on the inside. It is really easy to turn around and send a snarky comment that's going to make you feel good about them being a troll. But actually, all you're doing is winding them up. If you and maybe a couple of other people start working together and start succeeding in the game as a team, then that troll is going to feel left out and they're just going to come and join you. And then they're going to start having fun because you're working as a team, and then negativity is going to drift away, and hopefully by the end of the match you're all working together and you guys can win. And it does work, but it is really hard not to get sucked into the negative cycle when they're angry. So just there's something to work on. Is you're not going to get it the first time, okay? The next thing, it's important to develop muscle memories and muscle reactions. Your brain is a muscle when you're playing games. But if the only muscle actions you are doing is moving the mouse or twiddling the joystick or tapping the keys, there's a lot of your physical body that isn't being used. So it is so important to do, at the very least, go for a walk every day. And if you're still fit enough, make sure you go for a regular run. Personally, because I like to have fast finger coordination and motor skill, I tie a balloon from a hook off the ceiling and I hit it, and then it comes back and I hit it, and I just try to get as fast as I can while maintaining control, and I call it a control bag. You can use a punching bag speed bag, which will help maintain your focus and coordination. That will help you too. If you play with a gamepad and you're always sitting down, what you'll notice is that when you go to use the analog stick, there'll be an angle or a range of angles that you never quite get right. Start standing up when you're playing games. It's actually better for you. Your back is going to love you for it, and you, after a little while, or maybe after a few sessions, you'll notice that you've actually got more control of the analog stick while you're standing up, because your arms will be much freer than when you're sitting down. Another thing to take into consideration is cross disciplines. I mentioned cross disciplines before, so I'll just go back to the first person shooter scenario. So you play a game which elevates your heart rate. It's very exciting and it's very fast, and your mind becomes focused and zened in maintaining that adrenaline. It is so important to let your heart rate come back down, because if you don't let your heart rate come back down, you're going to either get A, adrenaline burnout, or B, heart strain. Heart strain, your body's going to automatically shut down. It's going to feel like you're fatigued while you're gaming. You're going to still be trying to push that heart rate up so you can perform. And then at the worst case scenario, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to be thinking that I suck. I can't even do what I used to do. It's just adrenaline burnout. You need some time out from the game. You need to let your body's nutrients build back up. You need to let your adrenaline gland rebuild a stockpile of adrenaline so you can be an adrenaline player again. Going back to the cross discipline, there are other styles of games that focus these attributes inside of you, but are not quite as intense and grueling as a first-person shooter. Action platformers, I think, is a really good place to be if you're a first-person shooter person. It's still fast, it's still action-packed, and it's still trying to respond appropriately. But lots of them, they have a linear map, and you can learn a muscle memory routine on how to go through it. By having your brain develop a new muscle memory routine, you're actually improving your mind's overall ability to create muscle memories. So by playing maybe 1 hour a week of something different than your normal first-person shooter games, you're actually giving your mind the ability to develop another region of itself. If you're into MOBAs, or mobile online battle arenas, try a real-time strategy. Try find a real-time strategy that you enjoy, and it will help you develop your strategy. So in the MOBA, you're spending a lot of time in the battle, and you're not really focusing too much on the strategy. As you play the game more, you will develop and you will learn more understanding as to what works and what doesn't work. But by playing a real-time strategy, you'll develop the strategy mindset inside of your mind to outplay your opponent rather than just outskill your opponent. So in a MOBA, you want to outskill and you want to outsmart your opponent. You can be less skilled than your opponent and outsmart them and still win 9 out of 10 times. If you are a racing car driver, you're doing fast adrenaline, you're maintaining a very, very high rate of actuation, or a rate of action inside of your mind. So you turn the corner at the right time, you tap the brake at the right time. You are trying to be as sharp as you can. Now, I can't honestly give you what will be best for you as a cross discipline. Doing a jet fighter or a flight sim or something is pretty much the same skill set, but it is a little bit more forgiving without sharp corners and stuff. And then there's moments when you're in a dogfight and that adrenaline is going to kick on and the sharpness is going to be more focused. So that may be good for you. An action platformer might be good for you, or a first-person shooter might be good for you, so you can use your adrenaline in a different way. A more controlled breathing, more intense moments, unlike the racing where you're just at full tilt the whole time. I'm going to leave this video at this, and I'm going to start another one, and we're going to focus on bad gaming habits.